listeners. My name is Dr. Kagia, a consultant obstetrician gynecologist. That means I look after the health of women. And I am also the chairperson of the Protecting Life Movement Trust, which is a pro-life organization. And this organization has a project which aims at rescuing people's lives, and it is called a Rescue Kiota. It was started in the year 2010. We work in Murang'a County, where we have the rescue center, in Kigumo sub-county, in a place that is called Muthithi. What we normally do is get girls and women who are in crisis pregnancy. Crisis pregnancy means that they have a social problem. They have been rejected by the man who made them pregnant. They have been rejected by parents. They have been rejected by guardians. And so because of rejection, they are left with only two solutions according to them. And one of the solutions is to commit suicide, which means that the girl and the baby would die, or go for an abortion to remove the offending factor, which is this particular baby. What we normally do is to make sure that this girl continues with her life, in spite of the fact that she got pregnant at the wrong time. One of the things that made us come up with this project is that, one, we are Christians, and the Word of God says that you should not murder. So we don't want anybody to go and murdering their children. And so we protect them from that. Two, we also looked at the whole issue of abortion and realized that this abortion takes place because somebody is pregnant at the wrong time in their feeling. And if they do, then it means that they have a social problem, not a medical problem. If you give the wrong treatment to the wrong disease, you are likely to get complications. And that's why we have a lot of complications of abortion with the people. And therefore, we had to come up with a project that was going to give a social solution to the social problem. As I alluded to earlier, when these girls come, they are rejected, so they have no accommodation. They are hated, so there's no love. And in most cases, there's nothing they can do. So when they come to us, we first and foremost give them accommodation, and we don't charge them anything. Then we go ahead and give them, because we are a Christian organization, we want to tell them that even if everybody hates you, God doesn't hate you. And we make them go through a Bible study book, which is called The Woman of Worth. So in God's face, you have some worth. And therefore, you don't have to kill yourself or kill your baby because you have this pregnancy which came at the wrong time. We also teach them how to pray and trust God. We also give them life skills. Some of them have not been involved in how do you make your decision in life, how do you differentiate that this person is likely to be cheating you or not. And we have a book which is called Life Skills for Young People by Scripture Union. On top of that, we give them skills in life, meaning that we make them do work that can help them look after the baby later. Teach them how to make sweaters for the babies. We teach them how to do floor mats and many other things that they can do so that they're able to support themselves and the babies when they go home. The other thing we do is that we facilitate antenatal care and a safe delivery for these girls. We have realized that from our statistics, as many as 60% are under 18. So they are really children having children. And therefore, they are likely to have a lot of medical issues when they are giving birth. So we have to partner with the health institutions that are likely to give very good care, including operations should they arise. And therefore, our main idea is to make sure that every girl does not lose opportunities in life just because they got pregnant. The beneficiaries of our organization is anybody who has been pregnant with a crisis pregnancy. We don't look at where do they come from. We have gotten girls from about 35 or 36 counties out of 47. We also don't mind what kind of a health problem they have, whether they have HIV or whatever it is. We still take them and look after them. The other thing we do is that even if they are born with disabilities or challenges, we still take them, because the main point is that they have a crisis pregnancy and we don't want them to lose their life as that. Since we started in the year 2010, we have rescued 208 girls and their babies. So those people would have died, the children could have died, and we have been able to rescue them. And I'm reminded of a girl we dealt with last year. This is a girl, last year but one. This is a girl who was picked in the streets of Kakamega. The girl was deaf and dumb, called Baraka. And this girl had nowhere to stay. She was in the street. And we were called by the children's officer and we were told, can you rescue this girl? And we rescued the girl. We looked after her. You can imagine the communication issue, but somehow we managed. And then she gave birth to a beautiful little girl. And then we had to think of an exit plan for her and a future. From my interactions, we know that this is a girl who has been to school. So we said, what can we do for her? We said, if she can go back to school, in a special school, she can be able to look after her child later, because there are many who are challenged that when they're able to go. So by God's grace, we were able to have her child fostered in the New Life homes. And then we got a sponsorship for her to go to a special school in Tuapa at the coast. And she's been doing very well in the school. In fact, we were told by the teachers the other day that they are so impressed that she's always number one. And so they said, now, if she's so sharp, why don't we make her jump some classes? So you can see this girl would have been in the streets, would have no future, and we believe she's got to get a profession for herself. So that is one of the cases where we have been very excited. The baby is growing very well at the New Life homes, and we go on. We, like every other organization, we get challenges, and we try to surmount them. One of the challenges we have is, how do we get the message of protecting life into the society? How can we make young people to know they shouldn't be involved in sex at the wrong time? How do we get the society to bring our children up in the best way? And so we talk to everybody and anybody. We give lectures in schools, in universities, in churches, everywhere. The other thing is we are an organization of organizations. So we have organizations like Pulse and Treasures who deal with people who have had abortion and who go and teach anybody about youth and sexuality. So we have a group of people we work with. One of the things we found in 2011 is the whole issue of where do these pregnancies come from. And many of you heard the story in Machakos that many girls had gotten pregnant during the lockdown, total lockdown, and they got pregnant. So we looked back at our statistics and we found that before the lockdown, the incidence of incest or girls made pregnant at home by relatives was about 11%. And within those 1.5 years into the total lockdown, we were able to rescue 30 girls. Out of those 30 girls, 10 of them were results of incest. So you can see we moved from 11% to 30%. What also struck us is that out of those 10%, 10 girls, 3 of the girls were made pregnant by their grandparents, meaning during the social problem of the lockdown, when there was an opening, people would take the children home to shags, see whether they can be there, helped with the feeding and all that. But many people didn't know what social problems were coming in. So that led us to think in ways of how do we stop this incest, because it's a big issue. We consulted the gender-based violence group, and they told us, yes, it's a very big problem, but there's a conspiracy of silence. Nobody reports. We even got some reports from the police who told us, oh, that one you don't even go through because nobody will report. And even when you go to court, some people it will be so influenced that people refuse to give evidence. But we decided we are not going to be discouraged. So we started what we call a national campaign on Stop Incest. So we are now we are trying to get to everybody, going to the social media. We had a documentary, which is called Stop Incest. We have gone to churches. We are going to the education sector. We have interacted a lot with the NAT, Kenya National Union of Teachers. And we have also interacted with what used to be National AIDS Council, now Control Council, now it's called National Syndemic Disease Control. And because we have a common ground with them, they are looking at the threats of adolescents, the pregnancy, the HIV, and the GBV, and of course, incest is one of the worst GBVs. So we are able to join with them, and they are doing some dissemination of that information, particularly through their interreligious group. And so we have been interacting with them, and we are able to get this message go across. So the stopping is going down to the communities. They are doing a wonderful job. They are going to the communities. They are holding public barazas, and they have the county commissioners, the deputies, the chiefs and the assistants, the nyubakumi, elders, police, religious leaders. So when they go and have a big baraza, these issues are discussed. And therefore we believe, as they talk about that GBV, which is incest in the worst GBV, then it will be easy. The other challenges we have had is sustainability. It's a locally started organization. We don't have any external funders. We go to individuals, and we have seen people support us quite a lot. When we first all started, somebody gave us a house and they didn't charge us rent. Later, about 5 years later, we were given 1 acre of land in Murang'a, in this place, Modhithi, and we were able to put up a house where we have our girls now. People donated materials and donated funds. Some people came and gave us a big tank of water. Others are giving biogas. So we have had the community come in and help us with the project. And of course, now since particularly we got the COVID, everything went down, including the economy of the country, the economic of individuals. So we were able, the giving went down. So we have to ask ourselves, how do we continue sustaining this project? You remember we have 1 acre of land, so we are trying to utilize it. Somebody donated a cow. The cow has been delivering other cows. So we don't have to buy milk. So we use it. We also look at our land and grow some food, grow some vegetables. We don't have to buy vegetables. And then we also grow things like maize and beans and a lot of bananas so that we can be able to feed these girls. We also have realized that meat is quite expensive. So we thought of, why don't we start keeping rabbits? Because they taste nice, and I'm told pregnant people like them. And they also grow very fast so that these girls can be able to eat the meat we have. One of the things that we have now in mind is that how do we live within our means and sustain the project. One of the things we found is that where I'm sitting is our office, and we are paying rent, almost about 30,000 or so. And so we are saying, now, suppose we moved this office into Murang'a, where our piece of land is, which is free. We remove all the rent. We'll be able to have that money, which may be used to feeding the girls or running the organization. And so we are now thinking of doing a campaign on migrating from the office from Nairobi to Muthithi. I know people say the economy is bad, but there are some people out there who believe in supporting projects, not operations. And so we are looking forward to people coming and partnering with us. When we are doing that documentary, we had partnership. The corporate, in particular, the Corporate Bank of Kenya, assisted us. Individuals also assisted us, and we were able to come up with it. Since ours is a short-term home, then we have to think in terms of what do you do when these girls come and maybe they are not accepted home. But may I hasten to say, a lot of the girls are readmitted back into the home, and they end up going to school, and the children are left by the looked after by the parents. There are those where the cases are very difficult, like those who are of incest and taboo. They are called taboo babies, and those ones may not be accepted by the society at all, and therefore they may need to go through adoption, and we do that. I alluded to the issue of fostering. If a girl cannot be able to look after that baby, the family cannot. Legally, we have the baby fostered in a children's home. The girl is able to go and see her or him. And then when she has finished school or whatever course she's doing, she goes back and picks her baby and goes on. We have one of our girls who became a teacher, and she's doing very well with her son. But the child was left in a foster home. When you look at some of the strategies we are trying to use to continue to impact society, is trying to make people understand that the fact that this girl got pregnant, it doesn't mean that that's the end of her life. And we also try to say that can the community love their own children? Unfortunately, it's not like the old days where children belong to the community. Now they belong to individuals. But can the community come back together? When they go through these barazas with the National Syndemic Control, do they now go out and say, yes, we were taught that having an adolescent pregnancy is not good for that child, but that's not the end. We can look after that child. She can go back to school and complete whatever she was doing. So we are trying to make sure that we go to the communities and let them come up with the solutions. The other thing is, as I said, we are a Christian organization. This country is supposed to be a Christian nation, so we hear. And one of the things that we think can work very well with this strategy is getting the churches to come on board. They believe that nobody should be killed. So can they take that as a challenge of making sure that babies are not killed through abortion, or the girls don't go committing suicide? And what can they do in their institutions to prevent that pregnancy? If it's an issue of incest, is it condemned at the pulpits? Are these young people told if somebody does that, it's wrong? Things like that. So we believe that as we mobilize the churches, we have a very good constituency which can make our work less. And then, of course, we are hoping that the community and the society will be able to support us, particularly materially and financially. We have quite a lot of people in the community who come. They say, now you have these girls, we give you 5 bags of maize. Give them ugali. Somebody else comes and says, you are having these girls. let's give you oil to cook their food. So you find that the community, once they understand what we are doing, they come and give what they have. So the support is not only financially, it can be in kind. I see that you are talking about this year's theme, fire inclusion. And I would say that our organization is looking at gender equality in a very, very serious way. Because these girls get pregnant. Nobody follows the man who made them pregnant. And yet one cannot make a baby alone. If it's a schoolboy, he's never followed. If it's a teacher, never. Even a boda man is never followed. If it's a father, the mothers are protecting their husbands. So this discrimination is what we don't want. We don't want our children to be treated like the other gender. In other words, they are the female gender. So why don't we make sure as a society that everybody has access to education, to support, irrespective of the gender? That is a tall order, because it means that you have got to do a lot of community education, mobilization. This is not a job of one person. We have the education sector, we have the health sector, we have the religious sector, we have even the legal sector, because some of these cases will go to the courts. And so if we can put everybody together, we shall achieve in making sure that our girls are not discriminated on. So ours is to make sure that girls don't lose opportunities just because they got pregnant. Whether they got pregnant intentionally or whether it was whichever way they got, the fact that that baby inside them must not curtail their future, and we must encourage them to go back to school. We are happy that the laws in Kenya allow any girl who has been pregnant, she can go back to school after delivery. That we must make sure that it is followed. Our girls must go on with their school. We cannot say, like we read in the paper the other day, there was a governor who was saying that they should not be allowed to go back to school. That is what we call discrimination. That is not inclusivity. It is not gender equality. Thank you.